This is known as the Riffle Shuffle. It's one of the easiest, coolest and fairest ways to shuffle cards. Hi, my name is Josep Vidal, and in this video I will share with you all you need to know to learn this shuffle in no time. So if this sounds good to you, get your deck of cards, sit down and let's get into it. So just for you to know what to expect from this video, here is the structure of it. As you can see, the video is divided in 3 parts, being the first one the before we start section, while we're sharing some relevant information and tips that will be very helpful throughout this tutorial, and also talk about concepts that are related to magic that will be very helpful not throughout this tutorial, but also through the upcoming ones that I'll be uploading soon, so you get familiar with that. Then if you don't have time, no worries, you can jump straight into the tutorial where I'll be sharing the step-by-step with all details and things you need to know to learn it properly. And finally, we're going to move on to the bonus section, where I'll be sharing some different variations and extra moves that will spice up this tutorial. So for those who don't have time, just before you go, I would recommend you to use for this tutorial a deck of cards that is not too sticky or too old. Later, you will see why it's that important. And especially for the bonus section, since I'll be sharing with you the table version of this shuffle, I would recommend you to have a card mat or a soft surface because it will be a lot more comfortable for you to follow all the steps and details. So with that being said, let's move on to the before we start section. I would like to start this section by emphasizing the recommendation I just gave before, which is to use a deck of cards that is not too sticky or too old. The reason for that is that on the riffling action especially, we're gonna need to accurately riffle through the cards one by one. If the deck of cards is sticky, for example, instead of riffling through the cards one by one, we'll be riffling through chunks of cards. Will make the shuffle be very hard to perform and also not very smooth, so will not even look nice or shuffle the cards properly. So I would definitely recommend you to get a deck of cards, again, that is ideally brand new or not too used. So in case you're wondering which is the deck of cards I'm using, this is a standard bicycle deck, which is very affordable, it's very accessible, especially if you live in the US. But if not, no worries, you can still find it in Amazon with no problem. It will not be very expensive actually. So in case you want to get it, it will be referenced down in the comment section. And if not, no worries, you can use any deck as long as it's not too sticky or old. I would also like to share with you what is the grip we're going to use for this tutorial. The classical version of this grip is called straddle grip, and it looks like this, having the index finger on the left side in this case, the pinky on the other one, and then on the bottom part the ring and middle finger and the thumb here on the upper part, like so. What this will allow us is to start many cardistry moves from here that we will see probably in other tutorials in the future. But in this case, instead of doing the classic version of the straddle grip, we're gonna use a different version, I would say, which doesn't change much. It's just the orientation of the deck. So like this, we can start the riffling part. Yeah, later in the tutorial we'll see in full detail, but just for you to be familiar with it, because I'll be mentioning in other tutorials probably, this is known as the straddle grip. And in this case, we're gonna be using this modification that will allow us to start the Riffle Shuffle as it should be. Finally, I would like to share with you, especially for the beginners, to focus your attention in 2 key moments of this tutorial. This will be the riffling action and also the cascade. Yeah? Because these parts are the key to make this shuffle successful. Especially, I would like to emphasize on the riffling part, because it's one of those actions that doesn't matter how many details or how much information I give you. It's more kind of a feeling thing, as you will need to adapt it into your hands on how you feel the deck of cards in your fingers. Yeah, so I would recommend you to get focused on it, and no worries, I will give you exercises for you to practice so you can still get this muscle memory or this feeling that will allow you to adapt your hands into it and perform it correctly. So now that we know all what we needed, let's move on to the tutorial. To perform the Riffle Shuffle, first we need to understand how to riffle through the cards. And for that, what we need to do is to first hold the deck of cards, in this case facing up, and holding it into what's known as a straddle grip. It's not the classic version of it, as we mentioned in the before we start section, but this is a kind of a variation of the straddle grip. So as you can see, it looks like this. Index finger on the left side, pinky on the other, bottom part, ring, middle finger, and on the top, the thumb. This gives us a very confident and strong grip. It doesn't matter how we orient the cards, doesn't matter if we change or remove some fingers, we'll still have a very strong and stable grip. So for the riffling action, what we need to do is first get our index finger and curl it into the top of the deck, and while doing so, we're gonna tighten up the grip with the with the middle and ring finger. Here the pinky will not do much, but it's more just of a support, so the cards will not go any other way. So what we do here is to curl and also tighten the grip, as I said, and press down, so we create kind of a bending tension that will allow us with the thumb to riffle through the cards like so. Here on the riffling action with the thumb especially, it's not that you're gonna put all the thumb and go through the whole finger. You're gonna need to understand or feel how to go through it by yourself, yeah? It's one of the things that doesn't matter how many details or information I give you, you need to practice and to know how it feels on your hand so you can understand how to riffle through the cards one by one. In this case, if you want some details or tips, avoid to do it with the whole finger. So instead, just try to go with kind of the base here of the last part of the thumb and a little bit of the tip, so you have some kind of control and you can riffle through the cards like that. Yeah, but again, it's more kind of a feeling for you to understand, to practice it and see how it feels in your hands. Yeah, no worries. In the second part of the Riffle Shuffle, I will show you an exercise you can do so you can learn with both hands how to riffle through the cards. But for now, keep this in mind. We start with a straddle grip, then we curl the index finger on top, tighten the grip so we can bend the cards, and then with the thumb, with a slight tip and base of the last part of the thumb, we can riffle through the cards like that. So we can split now the deck in half. Once we split the deck in half, here we're gonna go with the other hand to meet the bottom of the deck, and when we're here, transfer the packet. So we now are mirroring both packets with the same grip, and from now on, the same actions. So as I said before, it's very important for you to understand how to riffle through, especially with both fingers. If you want one dominant hand, probably that dominant hand will be a lot better, but in this case, you need both hands to be as good with the riffling action. For that, what I will recommend you is this exercise, okay? Instead of just aiming to riffling and follow the tutorial as normal, I will recommend you to first try to get used to riffle with this action, with this exercise I'm proposing, which again is mirroring the two packets, yeah, the two halves with the same grip, yeah, and with the same sequence as before. Curling the index on top, tighten the grip on the bottom, and bending the cards so we can go with the tip of our thumbs and start to riffle through the cards. So here, what's good with this exercise is that we use the table as a support, so we can confidently start to feel how it is to riffle through the cards. So we can start to get the feeling and the muscle memory that then will allow us to follow this tutorial and riffle in the air like that. Again, just very quick, we're gonna do is a straddle grip, curl the index finger, tighten the grip so we can create this tension and this U shape that will allow us to riffle through. Here with, I like to go and receive with the other hand like this by touching it with the tip of my middle finger. So I have more control on how many cards I want to riffle through. And once I'm confident with the packet I made, I just transfer like this and mirror the grip like so. Once you get used to riffle and you're confident with it, it's the moment where we get the two packets together so we can start to interlace the cards. Here we'll put it in a distance that is not too close and also too far, just enough so the cards can touch, yeah, like so. So they start to get interlaced. Look, if you try to do it very close, as you will see, it will be very hard. And actually the cards, some of them will not be able to interlace properly. So what I would recommend you is to get close enough. With the practice, you will see how close. So the cards just barely touch so they can interlace accordingly. In this case, well, not very well because I'm doing it slowly, but you get the idea, okay? So again, once we know how to riffle through both packets with both hands, we're gonna bring them together and riffle through. So we interlace them like that, 1 by 1, 2, 2. Doesn't have to be perfect, but at least good enough, because now we're gonna go for the cascade part. So for the cascade part, what we're gonna do is to first bend the deck like so. And here it's very important. We need to maintain a subtle pressure with the thumb, because now that we created this tension, the cards wanted to separate, yeah? If we leave the thumbs, they separate like that because we created this tension. So what we need to do, as I said, is to bend it like so with a tight and confident grip while we maintain the cards to slip apart with a gentle pressure of the thumbs. So now once we are in this position, when we feel confident, then we can start to release this pressure of this grip by opening it slightly, so the cards, instead of going up, because our thumbs don't allow it, they just collapse and start to get squared like that. So here, I know it will be very tricky in the beginning, but with the practice, you will understand what I mean by that. So you bend the cards, maintain slight pressure with the thumbs here, and then what you're gonna do is to slowly, sorry, let's go again, because doing it slow motion is a bit challenging. But again, you bend it like so. Once you feel confident, then you start to release some tension by opening the grip. And in the meantime, something I would recommend you to make it smoother or to make the cards square better is to push slightly with the thumbs down as you release some pressure, like so. So the cards get, you know, squared. They will never be squared perfectly, but you know, the more squared they are, the better for you then to recover the grip, so you can continue with the move you want to do or with whatever you're doing with it. So again, on the cascade part, we're gonna go riffle through, interlace the cards, create the tension, maintain with a slight touch of the thumbs, and then slowly release the pressure so it can all collapse and square together like that. So these are all the steps and details you need to know to learn the Riffle Shuffle. With a little bit of practice and patience, believe me, you'll be able to learn it in no time. If you have any doubts or questions regarding the tutorial, please don't forget to write them down in the comment section, as I will be very happy to assist you throughout this learning process. So now that we know how to do Riffle Shuffle, let's spice up this tutorial with some variations and extra moves I have ready for you at the bonus section. So I would like to start this bonus section by sharing with you some of the ending variations I like to do when I perform the Riffle Shuffle. It's not that it's extremely different, but you know, it looks visual and it's nice sometimes to, you know, just for practice or for fun, do it. And as you have learned, you know that we do the cascade normally like this, yeah? But in this case, the more you practice, the more you will notice that you don't have necessarily to do it or to finish it all the time the same way, like pushing it downwards. You can also finish it by pushing it upwards or horizontally, like this, for example. Yeah? As long as you feel confident with the grip and you know what you're doing, you can finish it as you want. Like in this case, pushing upwards, or as I showed you before, pushing it horizontally, yeah? So I can give you instructions and details on how to do it, but basically it's the same procedure as you learn in the tutorial. But in this case, for example, in the pushing upwards, you're gonna orient the deck like this, having, of course, a strong grip, yeah, a consistent grip. And here, while creating the tension, we're gonna push upwards with our fingers a little bit more than what we do on the original version, that we do it downwards. So we defeat gravity by pushing the deck upwards and with the tension square them up here, yeah? So again, the riffle works the same, no issue with that. Here is just, you know, to keep in mind that when we create this tension, we need to, you know, make sure that the cards will collapse upwards, yeah? Of course, with horizontal, it's a lot easier, but you know, if you would like to do it downwards, just keep in mind this, and it should work with no issues. So there's no rule sets on how to finish the Riffle Shuffle, how to orient the cascade. So what I will invite you is to play around with it, try to get creative and see which own variations and moves you can come up with by yourself. So I would like to finish the bonus section by sharing with you the table version of the Riffle Shuffle. As you will see, the mechanics is almost the same. I would say that the main difference is just that for this version, you will always require a table. That's why I showed you in the tutorial the on the hands Riffle Shuffle, so you are not dependent on a table and you can do it anywhere. But this one, the table version, it's very cool, so I would also like to teach it to you. And for that, what we need to do first is to understand the grip, yeah? In this case, the grip, we will start with the thumb, the ring finger and middle finger of each hand, holding it like this. With our pinkies, we're gonna put them on the sides, as later will be very important. And for now, the index will just stay apart from it. So one particular thing to point out here is that we contacting the deck with each hand in different part of it. With this, I mean, like, for example, with the right hand, I'll be contacting the bottom part, and with the left hand, the top part of the deck. So whenever I put the hands apart, I'm naturally splitting the deck like that. Yeah? So again, very quick, with the middle ring finger and thumb contacting each hand a different part of the deck. In this case, with my right hand, the bottom part, and with the left hand, the top part. And with the pinkies contacting the sides. Once we split the deck in half, we're gonna change our grip into something like this. This position, what will allow us is to riffle through the cards consistently like this. And for that, we're gonna involve not only our thumbs to riffle through, but also our index fingers pushing down, creating, as in the classic version, this tension that will allow our thumbs to contact all the cards so we can riffle one by one. And as you can see here, instead of just interlacing the cards horizontally, as we would do in the classic version, we're gonna interlace them by touching the corners of each packet, like so. Once all the packet is riffled, then we're gonna interlace them, put them in the right position so they get horizontal. And here is the moment where we can finish it in many ways. We can, for example, riffle through the cards and pushing it like this. It's very simple, it's easy. Then we can also interlace them again, riffle through like that, and maybe just finish with the classic version. Yeah, we can finish it in many ways. By the way, if you know how to spread the cards, no worries, I have prepared for you here the tutorial on how to perform the ribbon spread. And even if you know it, I recommend you to check it, as I have some extra moves and variations that probably you didn't know. So after this tutorial, I highly recommend you to go and check it. So after the spam here, we've seen how to finish it, like pushing it, and how to finish it in the classical way. But here I will show you the best way to finish the Riffle Shuffle on the table. That looks pretty cool. And it looks something like this. It looks very cool, very nice, and from my point of view is the best way to finish the table Riffle Shuffle. But I know from a beginner point of view it could look a bit challenging, but no worries. With a little bit of practice and patience you can learn it. So for that, as I showed you before, with the table Riffle Shuffle, we're gonna riffle through, meeting the corners, interlace them all together like this. First, we're gonna contact the deck with our pinkies like this and putting around the rest of the fingers. In this case, to initiate the structure or the tension we need for the cascade, we're gonna use our index and thumb to lift up the center part, yeah, while with our pinky finger pushing the deck to the left side. Here it's important to also mention that with the left pinky we're maintaining the position, so it allows us to create this bending shape. So we creating the tension we need as in the classic tutorial. So once we are ready to release, what we're going to do is to lift the central section while pushing to the left side, in this case with the right pinky, creating this cascade and collapsing to get all the cards squared. Yeah, just let me show you again because it's a bit challenging to do it in slow motion. So we're interlacing the cards, yeah, contacting with the pinky, then lifting up the center section while pushing with my right hand and maintaining with my left pinky the position, so we create this tension. And once we are ready to release, what we do is then to just slowly, in this case, slowly let it go and push with the right hand like this. I know this seems a little bit challenging and intimidating, but that's the reason why I share different variations, so you can choose the one that adapts to your level, or at least the one that you feel comfortable performing. But again, as other versions, if you follow the steps, if you give it some time and patience, you'll be able to perform it as well as the others. So that's it for the tutorial. I hope you like it, I hope you enjoy it, and if so, please don't forget to give a like, this will help me a lot, and of course consider subscribing if you'd like to see more cool tutorials like this one. As I said, I'm preparing a list of them that will go from the basic to intermediate to more advanced, so everybody will have a tutorial according to their level. And now, if you want to keep learning with me, I'll let you hear the video of this tutorial that will be also very cool for you to know. And again, thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and I hope to see you in the next one.